There's this podcast that I came across earlier today, and it was from a YouTube short. And the short, they were talking about the difference between men and women's preferences and why men aren't allowed to have preferences. While I do somewhat agree, I kind of want to see where they go with the conversation before I give my input. So we're going to check out this video.
Not funny themselves. Many women want a charismatic man, yet they are not charismatic themselves. Many women want a tall man, yet they are not tall themselves. You want a chivalrous man, but you are not chivalrous. You want a strong man, but you, physically anyways, you are not strong. People want things, both men and women want things in partners that they do not necessarily possess themselves.
You can control, like body count.
You gotta speak into the mic.
Sorry, when it's something like you can control, like body count, like no one's making you sleep with 250 girls, you know? Like you're just doing it.
So
being
that should...
tall, whatever, those things you can't change. But when it comes to like, oh yeah, like I'm not gonna be with this girl because she slept with 10 guys. Oh my gosh, she's such a slut. But you, on the other hand, slept with 250 girls. You don't have an opinion on the girl's body count.
I feel what she's saying. You can't really judge people for something that is out of your control, blah, 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 right? Here's the thing. It's a preference. That's how preferences work. For example, if I primarily date white women and a black woman comes along and I'm not attracted to her because I'm attracted to white women, that's my preference. She can't control that she's black. I can't control that she's black. That doesn't change the fact I'm not attracted to her. Not saying that that's the case. I'm just giving hypotheticals. If a fat woman comes along and I'm attracted to in shape fit women, it doesn't matter if I'm fat or if I'm fit or if I'm in shape. I just prefer women in that category. That doesn't make me weird or evil or mean or whatever because I choose not to like something that I don't like. If I decide I want a woman who doesn't sleep with a large amount of men, whatever large amount is to me, a large amount could be 5. If that's what I want, it don't matter how many women I slept with. That's what I want. And vice versa. If a woman wanted a dude who hadn't slept with more than 10 people or 5 people, and she slept with 300, she slept with 300. She don't want somebody that's like her. So she's going to go to somebody that's not like her. There's nothing wrong with that.
Your body count is high. Just stop.
That's like you can say
right
the same
there.
thing
The conversation's over.
That could be the same thing with you at the height. Like you can't demand somebody be 6 foot. You're 5'2".
Okay.
Well, you could, and the thing.
That's still my preference.
But body. Well, it's men's preference.
It's men's preference for the low body count.
It's a stupid preference that.
See.
So I just want to preface this by saying the views of this woman or these women do not reflect the views of all women. But this bitch is stupid, and I don't want to throw around the bitch word loosely. This bitch is stupid. So he just gave you an example of a preference that he may or may not have. You told them that it's dumb because you can't control that, or because it was something that you could control, so you have no say-so in what the other person can and can't do. Then you turn around and say that preferring a man that's 6 feet tall or whatever is your preference, so you should be allowed to choose?
See, it's only stupid because you don't understand it. And it doesn't serve you. That's why. You're very self-centered in the way you view things.
How does it serve you having a nice, clean girl?
Well, no STDs. The baby's definitely mine. She's not going to run away.
Does she okay. She's going about this with my approach, okay? We just go into an argument or a controversial topic and we just start talking without really thinking about what we're saying or doing any research on the topic. We just be saying shit. So here she is. She's just... Because she literally explained the point with her question. How does that serve you having a nice, clean girl? That's how that serves me.
Marital happiness. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Go ahead, speak.
No,
go ahead.
Basically, men are not allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries.
No, men are allowed to have preferences, but they shouldn't like ridicule women when they're doing like when they're having the same experience. Like you said you went through therapy and things like that for and like that was how you dealt with it. It's like wouldn't you relate to a woman, I guess, who was like going through the same thing?
I understand what you're saying for sure, but a lot of guys are just not that introspective and not that well. Just like how you're not going to rationalize like, well, he's 5'4" and he makes $47,000 a year, and like just how you're not going to kind of tiptoe around what you want. Neither are guys.
And like you said that with the woman with a lower body count, you're guaranteed like no STDs, the baby's yours, and this and that. How can we get that guarantee from like a man who has a high body count then? Like,
well,
you can't.
Well, the baby thing.
That's why guys don't want you doing that.
Okay, I feel this, right? My only issue with perspectives like this is it always sounds like they're arguing for men to be able to do whatever the fuck they want and a woman to just be okay with it. That's where this ideology really loses me, right? Because everything that they're saying is true. If I know I have a girlfriend and my girl is cheating on me with 4 other niggas, when she gets pregnant, how do I guarantee that I'm the father of this child? I can't. I sleep with a girl who just got out of a relationship. If I meet a girl, we hook up, and 3 days ago, she just got out of a relationship, and then now she's coming around and she's pregnant. How do I know that I got her pregnant and not the other dude she was fucking with or whatever other dudes she may have been fucking with? With a man, you don't have that problem because I create the baby. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my job. That's what I do. So in theory, there's a little bit more security in that sense. Doesn't mean that I'm necessarily clean. It don't mean my shit ain't burning. And I feel like the way that they present their point, it kind of just sounds like, oh, women, y'all can't cheat. Y'all shouldn't be cheating. That's why we don't want you. But we can fuck whoever we want, and it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I could be missing the point, but that's how it comes off to me.
I'm just saying what he said.
Well, that's another reason why body count matters, because it's an evo-psych reason, evolutionary psychology. If a woman has 10 husbands and she's sleeping with all of them, who's the father? You don't know. In the past, anyways. Throughout all of human history. Now you can take a DNA test, and in some countries, it's actually in France, that's where I was born, you can't get it's illegal to get a paternity test in France, because apparently, according to the French authorities or some shit, it would be too destructive to society, because men would realize that they were cucked and their partner, there's infidelity, and that the kid's not theirs. And that's a real fear for men, to raise a child that you think is yours. Women can't really relate to this one, because if you have a kid, you know with certainty the kid is yours. Well, you laugh, but it is a genuine, real fear. That's one of the biggest L's a guy can take in his life, is to, with his wife or partner or whatever, think he's had a kid with her that's his kid, and it turns out it's not. It's just revealed infidelity, and it's revealed that that kid is not his. That's a huge L and a huge concern for men that women do not have. So that's why men, it's in our gut. If a woman's promiscuous, it's evolutionary psychology.
It's repulsive.
If she's promiscuous, you cannot guarantee paternity. You cannot guarantee that the child is yours.
I just think it's funny when guys have like a standard, women are just like, how dare you?
I really need to think about what I want to say before I say the wrong thing and it comes off not how I want it to. It isn't the fact that men have standards, right? I mean, okay, I've reacted to some videos before where men having standards, period, was clearly just a point of issue for some women. We're not going to act like that's not the truth. You could also say the same thing on the flip side. What it sounds like, at least in terms of the context of this conversation, they took a group of women, kind of just do whatever they want. They're probably Instagram models or OnlyFans models or whatever the fuck, right? Especially the main chick who's talking. She's saying why is it so bad that I have a high body count if you're fucking with 250 women? And if I have 10, that's a bad thing. I agree. I feel like you got to practice what you preach. That's me personally, my personal belief. I'm also not ignorant to the fact that people have preferences, and it don't matter if I fuck 10,000 bitches. If I say I want a woman who's a virgin, that's what I want. Does that make me right morally? No, but that's what I want. It's the same debate of like transgender women. I don't want to date a transgender woman. I'm not comfortable with that. That's against my belief. Does that make me an evil person or bad because I don't want you? No. It doesn't matter what I am. What I like versus what I am are two different things. From a morality standpoint, yeah, it sounds a little fucked up. But at the end of the day, just because I don't like you doesn't mean nobody likes you. It just means that I don't like you. And it really comes off like motherfuckers get offended when someone doesn't like them just because that person doesn't like them. It's not necessarily because they want you to like them or because they like you and they want you to like them. It's really just because they want to be right. What this boils down to, this generation is all about like just being right and less about minding your own fucking business. But I will say like their whole promiscuity argument, while it is correct in some aspects, I feel like they're missing the mark and they're kind of pushing towards a certain point that they're not saying out loud, but they're basically like alluding to it. And I'm not sure I agree with it.
Maybe she herself has a low body count and she doesn't want to date a player. She wants to date just like kind of a guy that isn't going to around, not a boy. She just wants a nice guy.
Having a preference isn't bad. It's the double standard that's bad.
Yeah.
No,
But we just
the preference is a preference whether there's a double standard there or not.
Then you can have your preference. That's fine.
There's all kinds of double standards.
Yeah. And women are the ones left and single at the end of the day anyways and complaining about being left single. So if you guys don't get it together, it's your ball to carry.
What makes you think women want to be in a relationship?
Let's see all of biological science that has stemmed since the dawn of humanity.
Okay, but things are different now. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, people don't want to reproduce anymore. Got it. Thanks for clearing that up.
Well, some people
babies
don't.
are stopping in 2023. We're ending babies. Got it.
Wait.
Do you think that everybody gets in a relationship is gonna get married and have children? No.
Oh my god, okay. She lost me, bro. She lost me. Her arguments aren't thought out at all. This isn't even like a crazy intellectual conversation. This is a very like bare bones conversation. They're essentially saying women tend to have preferences and it's supposed to just be widely accepted and it's supposed to be the norm. Anytime a man has any kind of standard or any kind of abnormal preference, all of a sudden it's a point of issue. They gave an example of, okay, y'all have this irrational preference in our eyes of men have to be 6 feet tall. So why can't I have the preference that I want a woman who has less than 10 bodies? Oh, well, you can't have that because you can't change height, but you have control over your body count. First of all, that's a dumbass argument. Because if anything, you would judge them more on what they can control and not on what they can't control. I can't help it that I'm 5'10". I can't help that. Would I like to be 6 foot? Hell yeah. If I go up to a 4'8" woman or a 5 foot tall woman and I'm trying to get at her and she fucks with me, but she goes, oh, but you're a little too short for me, I'm gonna feel some type of way about it. Because it's like, bitch, I'm taller than you. Like, why do you need 6'4"? But at the same time, that's what she wants. So can I really be mad? No, I can get upset that I'm not chosen. But I can't really be mad that she doesn't want me because she like what she like. So if I like them short, I do. I like shorter girls. If I go up to a 5'11" girl and she's fine as hell, she's super dope, but height is a serious point of contention to me, I'm not gonna date her. Because I don't like that. That's not my preference. If that's such a big point for me, like that's such a deal breaker for me, then I'm just not going to date her. She can't be mad at me for choosing to not be with her because she's not my preference. She's not my type. That's the argument that they're trying to make, but then they kind of like thinly veil it in like, oh, we're men, so we should be able to be better than you. And like, y'all are some dumb bitches. Like, that's just the vibe that I get. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what they're saying, but that's the vibe that they give off.
So is your guys' point of like valuing body count because you guys claim that women get it easier than men do, so it's like they should be more?
Well, I mean,
No,
that's
it just
part
like
of it.
we just don't want to like look at you and then be like, oh yeah, like that's my girl, but like Bob up the street hit it, and then Joe at the fucking corner shop, and then this guy who fucking stalks her on Instagram, I know he fucked her. Like a guy doesn't want to like look at all like your entire resume of dicks and be like, just look at it. We just don't want to see that.
I'm sorry. This is like I'm trying so hard to focus and also talk, but this is a dry ass podcast. And I'm not saying it's the host's fault. It's very uninteresting, like at points.
Just like how you would, like, if you're dating a guy and you wouldn't want him following any of his ex-girlfriends on Instagram, or like if he was like a member of her fucking OnlyFans or something like that, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, fuck, get out of here. Guys is the same way. We don't like it. We just don't like it.
And it's and I don't have a problem with your preference. It's
Just telling you, like it's guys like that across the world. It's not like we have some giant like patriarchal community. We're like, all right, guys, get together, put on your thinking caps. How are we gonna oppress women this week? Okay, body count. Like, we don't just get together and think like that. But when you get out outside of the world and you travel around, you'll see that most guys just want a decent woman to come home to, that they know that the woman is not going to go run around on him. That's like what most guys want, period.
It's also interesting that I don't really get the sense that most of you here are particularly promiscuous or have high body counts. So why defend it?
Because it's women nature. They stick up for their own because they feel attacked. It's the environment that you set. You set a hostile environment. Just because it's quiet and y'all talk in a nice tone and you sound educated doesn't mean that there's no hostility or that you're not on the offensive. You're very on the offensive, and you talk to them in a kind of condescending tone. Not saying that some of these bitches don't deserve it, because some of them do. It's the way you present yourself that's going to reflect on how people respond to you. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you got bitches who just won't smoke for no reason. But don't try to make it seem like y'all are completely innocent in this topic.
It's not defending it. It's like he said he has a body count of like 250, but he's like, oh, I don't want to get any STDs. That's why I don't want a woman that has a high body count.
She said clean, that's why.
But you slept with 250 women.
Yes.
So how are you sure you're not going to get an STD?
I
if
have
I'm
in
going to
the
be
past.
with you, how am I going to sure?
I have gotten it in the past, and that's why I tell people now, like, don't fucking do it. It's
Okay.
good.
So you regret it. You regret having like a high body count.
I don't regret having a high body count, but I do regret
Sleeping with the chick that gave
sleeping
you...
with some of those chicks. You're like, yeah, I'm totally clean. You don't have to use a condom. Like that, I regret. I've actually hooked up with a chick, and then she texted me when I got home. She's like, I actually have something to tell you. And I was like, you and Susia. I mean, how would you feel if you got home? He's like, oh, by the way, I have AIDS. You know?
Okay, so then say that. Say, this is who I was. I slept with 250 women. I don't do that anymore, but at one point in my life, I was wildin'. Don't do that. And because I don't do that anymore, I choose to not go for people who indulge in that. Preface it like that. Don't preface it with, I slept with 250 women, so I want a woman that's gonna have a body count of 10. Y'all created this hypothetical scenario. I'm not even sure who created it, but we're going off of this hypothetical scenario. It's a real scenario if he's answering it like he did it before. But I'm saying, don't create the scenario or the hypothetical and then try to fight it or debate it and then backtrack it and then try to make yourself be like, oh, no. What I mean is I used to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. Someone who's doing the same things that I used to do. You gotta learn how to like put the sentences together. And I know that's hilarious coming from me because not all of my sentences sound the best. You're allowed to have whatever preferences you want. You're allowed to have your opinions. You're allowed to like people that you like, and you're allowed to not like people you don't like. You have a preference. Don't force your preference on other people. And if someone has a preference that is opposing your preference, don't fight them or become contentious with them because they have an opposing preference. It's as simple as that, really. I'm gonna get up out of here though, y'all. Peace.